In my defense, I think this may be resurfacing in popularity just a little, though I guess blaming it completely on trend surfing isn't really going to help my case either, and it wouldn't be completely true. Now, I am not a My Little Pony fan, but I was when I was a kid because it was at the height of its popularity. Now, Equestria Girls as a concept is not terrible, but you can very clearly tell what was driving the creation of this alternate universe. I'm going to be talking about the first 4 Equestria Girls movies. I am aware there are others, but I was only willing to go back and rewatch the first 4 as those are the ones I grew up with. And I'm not really sure how to smoothly segue this, so let's just go. I wasn't sure how going back to the first movie was going to go. I was expecting it to be a bland and simple enough movie to launch the brand while having a safety net of sorts just in case the idea was a flop. And I could not have been more right. This movie is a paint-by-numbers high school adventure with your typical, haha, we think humans look dumb jokes that I always hate, and with plot threads that go absolutely nowhere. Like the whole framing Twilight for ruining the ballroom, it has no point. It takes 1 minute and 10 seconds for the whole thing to get resolved. Even the cleanup montage that follows has no point because it's later revealed that Sunset Shimmer didn't even want the room to be wrecked, so why even put this whole thing in the movie? The hero didn't want it to happen, the villain was almost set back by it. What's the point? And why is any of the main 6 helping Twilight aside from Fluttershy? Twilight has not personally helped them in any way, and they're all scared of Sunset Shimmer. Why are they trusting this random girl so much? Rarity, of all people, should be hesitant to be associated with her, as she was the girl Sunset destroyed in the spring fling. And when Sunset breaks the group up Squidward and Naughty Nautical Neighbor style, no one ever thinks to just ask questions or even yell at each other. They all just stop talking. Pinkie and Fluttershy hated each other because Fluttershy wanted to do a silent auction and Pinkie brought party supplies. But Pinkie was told that Fluttershy actually wanted a noisy party. Maybe Fluttershy would have clammed up and started ignoring Pinkie, but do you really think that Pinkie Pie wouldn't have tried to patch things up? She never seemed like the type to be able to focus long enough to keep a grudge, and she always seemed like people being mad at her would shatter her. Rarity hated Pinkie Pie because she kept getting emails saying that Pinkie didn't need her help decorating the gym for events, only to find out she was working all by herself. Maybe Pinkie wouldn't have complained, and maybe Rarity would have just let it fester, but do you really think that Sunset Shimmer would have been able to get them all to change their phone numbers and emails and never tell each other so she could use the old numbers and mess with them? How is Pinkie not getting any of these emails? Well, she could be changing all of the numbers in their actual phones for them, but she would literally have to go through all of their backpacks, know all of their passcodes, and not get caught. I mean, cartoon logic, it could happen, but still. Applejack and Rainbow Dash also hated each other for similar reasons as Fluttershy and Pinkie. Applejack was doing an event and needed Rainbow's softball team, but Rainbow never showed up. Rainbow was told that the date was changed, so it's also not her fault either. Now, you really want me to believe that these two wouldn't have gone at each other's throats over this? You really think they would have just stopped talking completely? And how did these incidents break everyone up? This would mean that Pinkie has nothing against Apple or Rainbow, Fluttershy only hates Pinkie, Rarity doesn't hate Apple or Rainbow either, or Fluttershy for that matter, and Apple and Rainbow have nothing against the other 3. And if gossiping about each other behind their backs was to blame, then that would mean that they would be picking sides or even trying to clarify things to the others, not splitting up completely. I've talked about it long enough. And there are also world rule inconsistencies as well. How does Sunset plan to smash the portal? The hammer is just going to go straight through to Equestria, and it would take a lot of hits to take out the sides and make the middle crumble. You can clearly stop her before that. She only has 2 freshman boys as bodyguards. Think things through for 2 seconds. The music is catchy, but really nothing great. I liked helping Twilight win the crown, but that's it. Except the characters are weirdly sexualized in some of the shots. Like, there is a scene of literally just Rainbow waist down shaking her hips. Like, what is the point of that? The target audience is 9. Also, Sunset's redemption is beyond lame, but kids' movie, so... But where the movie really did shine was in the character designs. I'm telling you, I love these designs. The hair, the outfits, and, well, some of the oversized boots, they're really great. They put a lot of care into that. I think. The last thing I'm going to get deep into before moving on is the whole bringing everyone together thing. Now, this movie came out during the hype of everyone should talk to everyone. Every kid's movie, it seemed, was getting in on this action. Usually, the movie would show some kind of animosity between the groups to show why this message is needed. But in Equestria Girls, the groups really don't seem to dislike each other all that much. They just like hanging out with people who share their interests. There's nothing wrong with that. A typical group of friends is going to have people with all kinds of interests. This isn't some foreign concept to the human race. This has been how the world works for ages. But this doesn't mean it's wrong to enjoy a group of friends that does share your interests. Both types of friend groups are good, and while you shouldn't hate people who are different just for the sake of it, you can't talk to whoever you want to talk to. It's possible to be friends with people who are just like you and nothing like you, and both are usually fine. But enough on that, I guess. I'm sure the one thing everyone cares about is whether Sunset Shimmer straight up killed her alternate. I would give the first Equestria Girls a 5. Out of 10, not out of 5. It's too little to earn a 6, and it's technically not a terrible movie, so I can't give it a 4. But it did well enough to warrant a sequel. I mean, it's My Little Pony. The fandom is fiercely loyal. Talking about Rainbow Rocks is going to hurt my soul. It's going to tear me up inside because I have little but great things to say about it. Yes, it does have tons of tropes I hate. We fight with our music! This is a song about how we were apart, but now we're not, and all of our problems are gone. And so much exposition. It'll be a common theme with the sequels. Exposition gets everywhere, and it bothers me. But at the end of the day, this movie is actually really deep with amazing underlying tension, and it's not afraid to give Twilight an arc outside of the original show. I guess I'll have to pick something to start with. Or I guess I should say, someone. Sunset Shimmer steals the show here by far. Okay, yes, I guess most people would say it's actually the Sirens who do, but for me it's Sunny, because her characterization and place in the story is incredible. She's scarred by what happened in the last movie. She went from the most feared girl in school to an almost complete and total outcast, probably overnight when you think about it. She wants to do better, but doesn't know how, and she doesn't feel like she deserves the second chance she gets from the main 6. But she's definitely not helpless. You can see her knowledge of magic and her natural cautiousness underneath the surface, and in the end, while corny, she is the one to save everyone by forgiving herself and fully accepting that others care about her. Well, that and by singing a power ballad. Ugh, I hate that trope. She's just fine playing second fiddle to others, but deep down she was born to be a leader, and they show that really well in the limited runtime they had to work with. Another important character in this movie is, surprisingly, Rainbow Dash. Rainbow Rocks, Rainbow Dash. Maybe I should have seen that coming. Rainbow's ego in this movie is obnoxious. There is no better way to say it if you don't want to outright call her out. It's hard to watch to be sure, but this movie needs a Rainbow Dash to keep it going. They have to play along with the Sirens game. More on that later. They need to compete. No one in this group is really going to be able to handle this type of situation, except for Rainbow Dash. As unbearable as she is, at the end of the day, she is keeping this movie going. Even if she does let herself get carried away and almost jeopardizes their mission. In Twilight's arc, while it does tie into the original show, which, it's MLP, maybe that's not really an abnormal thing, giving a part of her arc to a spin-off series, but I don't know. Her arc stems from that episode where she swaps everyone's cutie marks by mistake. She finishes a spell and fixes everything, but now she's expected to write a spell from scratch, and it's eating her alive that she can't do it. But I think the greatest part about this movie can be explained simply by analyzing one of the minor songs on the track. The Sirens sing it. It's called Under Our Spell. If you're just listening to the song, you're not going to pick up on how nuanced it is in regards to the story. It sounds like your typical, oh, you're hypnotized now song. We've got the music, makes you move it, got the song that makes you lose it. We say jump, you say how high, throw your hands up to the sky. You didn't know that you fell, now that you're under our spell. The ending animation for this song is all of the influence students fighting, but we already know they're under a spell. This is not new information to us. You have to pay attention through the rest of the song. The main six and Sunset are not directly affected by this spell. They think they're untouchable. Everyone's fighting and hating each other, but they're above that, right? Magic doesn't affect them. But the sirens aren't completely depending on their magic here. The whole stress of the situation is tearing a wedge in the group and stressing out Twilight to the max. The main five are all at each other's throats, and Twilight is literally underneath all of them, ignoring their bickering and obsessing over the counterspell. They're not under any spell, but they might as well be. The sirens have created the perfect environment to put them as close to being under their control as they can be. No magic required. And then there's one shot of Sunset Shimmer. The sirens get to her in an entirely different way.
You're never gonna get away with this.
Why? Because you didn't? Oh, we know all about you, Sunset Shimmer. You've got quite the reputation at Canterlot High.
I've changed. I'm in a much better place now.
Waiting in the wings while your friends have all the fun?
Oh, yes. You girls are so tight. And yet, they didn't ask you to be in the band.
Probably afraid no one would want to see them play if she was in the group. Too bad! So sad!
If it's any consolation, no one is going to remember you at all by the time we're done.
The idea is in her head now. She's doing nothing to convince herself it isn't true. This pushes her even further away from the action than she already was, and she's helpless to talk herself out of it. And her friends are so busy with their own drama that they don't help her either. You didn't know that you fell, now that you're under our spell. This is the exact situation the heroes find themselves in, and they're oblivious to their real danger. Of course, it eventually gets resolved and the Rainbooms beat the Sirens. It was a really well-executed journey, and I hate admitting that, because I had the opposite opinion as a kid. And saying this is admitting I was wrong, and I am not good at that. Now, to be fair, if the Rainbooms just got a vacuum or something, sucked up all that green energy the Sirens were feeding on, or better yet, that wizard that banished them in the first place should have just... I think I'd give this movie a 9.5. I would give it a 10, but I probably should save that for the best of the best, like Puss in Boots: The Last Wish and the 2005 Pride and Prejudice. Equestria Girls: The Friendship Games was the only one that I was extremely excited to revisit. I remembered it being great. A better word for this movie would be creative. It was really creative, but the execution in the end was kinda just okay. I'll list a few choices that, if had been made, would have ended the movie, immediately. Don't let the main six compete. No magic pony-ups, the games continue as normal. Close the stupid magic-sucking necklace every time it acts up. Don't just hold on to the string you've got it tied on, close it. In the triathlon, there's no way Crystal Prep could have caught up to Canterlot High in the speed skating. No way! This doesn't really fit in with the other 2 points, but I have to bring it up. Crystal Prep would have to skate 3 or 4 laps in the time it took Canterlot to skate 1. That's not happening. The pacing of this movie is also pretty bad. I'm saying this mostly because of the immediate transition between what feels like it should be the middle story beat straight to the climax. It was actually jarring. I couldn't help but notice it. Sunset Shimmer is still fun. She's stepping into her leader role and trying her best, but you get to see her struggle to get to a point of self-confidence, and it's a good place to take the character to. Where this movie really shines is in the music. And yes, the last movie was literally about music. How ironic! How can this movie hope to top that? Well, whereas Rainbow Rocks had a few flops, every song in this movie is incredible, so I'd say it did a good job. The montage of the title song is so much fun. Rainbow Dash's rally song is one of my favorites, though she claims the school fought music more than once and came out on top. But if I remember correctly, the main six and Sunset did all the work while the other students were busy being mind-controlled and useless. But oh well. What More Is Out There was my childhood favorite, and it's beautiful and heartfelt. Akadeka is just incredible fun and full of clever roasts. Right there in front of me serves its purpose really well. But what I really want to focus on is Unleash the Magic. This song is so nuanced, I just need to gush over it for a bit. It's a perfect representative of what manipulation and negative peer pressure really looks like. It's dark. It's a warning. Don't let people do this to you. If you see these signs in people when they try to convince you to do something that you don't feel is right, don't feel guilty for thinking twice. for not saying yes. Don't do drugs. Don't let people guilt you into doing things you don't feel ready for or comfortable with. It's okay to say no, and it's okay to have your own thoughts. I don't know how I feel about the kids having no consequences for their part in this.
Actually, we're all to blame. Mostly it was her.
Yes, they're kids. Kids don't know any better, but no consequences at all? Really? They had a part in almost causing an Armageddon, and they bullied and pressured Twilight incessantly, and they had this terrible attitude throughout the whole movie, but they're okay now? Why are these brats not getting punished in any way? Why does Cinch, of all people, get to walk off with dignity when she pressured and manipulated a child into almost causing an Armageddon? Where are the consequences? 7 out of 10, I guess. This movie was creative, like I said before, and still leagues better than the first one. Before getting into the last movie, though, watch this parallel of the Applejack archery scene and the big Merida arrow split moment. Now, if Hasbro or Pixar see this, don't sue each other. Be nice.
Merida!
Everfree is chock full of exposition. Like, the most annoying type of exposition. For crying out loud, we saw the last movie. It is a fine story, though, for the most part. The stupid Fever Dream Power Rangers Power of Friendship montage at the end is really, really cringy. But here's one of the worst things about this movie. Sunset Shimmer! And before you say it, my love for the way they did Sunny's character in the prior 2 movies is why I don't like her here. She has nothing else to learn, apparently, so she's boring now. She's just a leader now, and that's her only character trait anymore. They didn't bother to keep much else other than her overcautiousness. They did her so dirty. But the music is almost as good as the last movie, at least. I'd say it's on par with Rainbow Rocks. The beginning and Everfree ball songs are fun, but they do use lazy animations in the first and straight up reuse animations in the second. Stand for Everfree is just incredible. I like it. It's so fun to sing. Good song. Embrace the magic, though. I'll be straight with y'all here. I really don't like it. It's catchy, it's a lot of fun to sing, but it's just so on the nose and literal with everything, it's really aggravating. This is Pinkie Pie's magic. She makes things blow up. She uses this to fix the dock. Yeah, that's what's up. This is Rainbow Dash's magic. She goes really fast. But one of the coolest things about this movie is the song Midnight and Me, and the continuation of Twilight's arc that goes along with it. We can leave off most of the song, but here's the line that's going to spark an entire side rant about something that isn't even remotely My Little Pony related, so hang tight. It used to be so simple. It was a world I understood. I didn't know what I didn't know, and life seemed pretty good. Twilight got what she wanted at the end of the last movie. She found that special thing she was so longing to find, friendship. And she learns a whole other world of things that she could probably spend forever learning about. But now that she has it, she realizes that the grass isn't always greener on the other side. Be careful what you wish for. She even starts to look back on her old life and see it as pretty good, even though she really wasn't doing mentally well at Crystal Prep. The thing she worked so hard to achieve has become a double-edged sword, and she has to deal with this now. Now, I don't have to do this, but I'm going to compare it to Vanelope from Wreck-It Ralph, because she kind of goes through the same thing, but there's one key difference. Ralph gives Vanelope the chance of a lifetime. He gives her her life back, fixes her game. She's now allowed to race with everyone else, and she can leave Sugar Rush at will. But then she gets bored. Okay, I'm not here to discuss the ethics of this. Vanelope is more than entitled to want more out of life. You don't have to stay in the same situation forever. The problem is, this 10,000% goes against a clear rule from the last movie. Don't go turbo. Vanelope goes from Sugar Rush to Slaughter Race and is praised for following her dreams, while Ralph and Turbo do the same thing and are called out as having done a terrible thing. Oh, but she's one of 16 racers! So that makes it okay? That's like saying, oh, my job as a Supreme Court Justice isn't important because there are 8 other ones. No! Even the smallest candy has a purpose in Sugar Rush, and taking anything out of the game is going to mess with the code and even kill the game's resale value. Oh, but What's-Her-Face added Vanellope's code to the game so now she won't die.
Go into the light.
Consequences for thee and none for me is basically Vanellope's whole arc, and it's disgusting. It would work just fine if the movie wasn't a sequel to Wreck-It Ralph, which was all about being happy being you because you have value. Frozen, Toy Story, and Wreck-It Ralph have done a complete 180 from the morals their stories were originally centered around, and it's confusing and sad. You know how the end of Wreck-It Ralph made a big deal about Vanelope being a president and not a princess, until I can only assume the marketing department had the most Disney brainstorm ever?
Do people assume all your problems got solved because a big, strong man showed up?
Yes, what is up with that?
She is a princess.
You know, Ralph was ready to give up his life for you. He was literally going to go fist first into a pool of boiling cola for your sake and for the sake of the arcade. So yes, your problems were saved because a literal big strong man showed up, Vanelope. And you know something, Disney princesses, who I will definitely be doing a series on at some point, one video for each of you? All the Disney princes are ready to risk their lives for your ungrateful butts. Show a little gratitude. Most, if not all of you, would be dead, forever asleep, or enslaved in some way if your big, strong man didn't do something heroic in each of your movies. So cool it with the narcissism, alright? Trust me when I say that you can be a big, strong female princess without it. For real. Anyways, I told you that I was going to get wildly off track, and I did. But the point of all that was comparing this general kind of arc done well to this kind of arc done terribly, and I think I've more than proved that point. Everfree gets maybe like a 7? Yeah, that seems about right. So what was the point with this video? Honestly, I think I just wanted to relive the first 4 movies and see them from a more mature eye. Like I said, when I was a kid, I thought Rainbow Rocks was awful and scary and that the Friendship Games was the best of the bunch, but I was wrong on both counts. I'll say straight out that I have no intention to do any more videos on this particular topic, so there's a 99% chance that I won't be talking about the other Equestria Girls media or even anything My Little Pony related. It's really not my scene. I'm not really a fan anymore, but since these movies were so cool to me as a kid, I wanted to make this video anyway, and now thanks to that, all my nostalgia for each one has been drained right out of me. This was a great idea, yeah.